Welcome, and thanks for joining the Q2 edition of the Metro Manufacturing Alliance General Meeting. I'm John Lannis, Vice President of Economic Development here at One Southern Indiana, and excited to bring you a great segment today. Today we're going to talk, as we always do, about the impact and engagement that we've had over the past few months through the Metro Manufacturing Alliance. We'll talk a little bit about economic development and the work that you're supporting in that arena, as well as have a guest presentation from James Hall with the Ports of Indiana to talk a little bit about the foreign trade zone and how you can leverage that benefit, whether you're located at the port or throughout the state of Indiana. In addition to that, we'll also kind of look ahead into the next few months at opportunities for you and your colleagues to engage in the Metro Manufacturing Alliance. On May 8th, we were able to host our 2024 annual summit at the KFC Yum Center. We were able to bring an amazing lineup of speakers and content, including Redwire, focusing on local innovation. We had dueling workforce conversations led by both Ivy Tech Community College and Kentucky Career and Technical College System. We had a great economic forecast hosted by PNC Bank and Futurist Insights by Dr. Nat Irvin with the University of Louisville. We concluded the summit with a leadership luncheon and panel discussion with representatives from Huber's, Kentuckiana Curb Company, Cutter, and the Rudy Consulting Group. Next up, we had a great turnout at our Global Reach Local Roots, the Indiana Gateway to International Trade Workshop, sponsored by HRS Global. Guest speakers included today's segment feature James Hall and George Ott with the Ports of Indiana, as well as Andrew Ranke with Indiana Small Business Development, Roger Howard with Indiana Economic Development Corporation, and Mark Cooper with the U.S. Department of Commerce, talking about how companies can really expand their revenue sources out of market by creating linkages globally to sell their products and goods in an international market. Over the past several months, we've hosted two of our signature Women in Manufacturing group hosted by PNC. The first event was on March 20th. It was a bourbon and wine tasting hosted at Huber's Winery, as well as a lovely evening out to Churchill Downs on June 28th. Both events were sold out crowds. If you haven't seen the photos on social media and LinkedIn, I encourage you to do so. Those events always sell out quickly. My colleague Jack Harrison will be back with us towards the end of the segment to talk about some of the upcoming ways to engage. So we hope you'll consider some of the upcoming opportunities. Last but certainly not least, I want to give an update on our advisory council. Our advisory council is a group of industry leaders that really are a resource to our team as we develop programming, as we engage with future members, and as really we ensure that the content and the focus of the Metro Manufacturing is in line with the needs of our industry partners. So excited to add 3 new members to the advisory council, including Jacob Perkins with Amatrol, Sam Owens with Owens Pattern, and Mike Schmidt with Kentuckiana Curb Company. I want to thank them for their service. We're excited to work with them in collaboration to make the MMA a success and a value to all of you. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about economic development. As you've heard me say, the Metro Manufacturing Alliance provides a unique opportunity for us to stay engaged with you, our existing members, our existing companies, our existing employers here in the market, but it also gives us a unique opportunity to showcase the benefits in the ecosystem that new investments into our market might leverage and benefit from. So we always want to give an update on recent economic development activity. Over the past quarter, we're excited that we've had 3 new announcements, including MKS Vision Group, locating in Jeffersonville, bringing 40 new jobs, a capital investment of just under $3 million. MKS Vision Group is an engineering services group that will house their new prototyping lab here in Jeffersonville. So we're really excited to welcome them to the region. In addition to that, we also had Worldwide Sports Nutrition Supplements, better known and branded here as 1440 Foods. They will move into the former Enjoy Life Foods building at River Ridge in the Jeffersonville area of the park. Plans project 200 new jobs with a capital investment of $62 million. And last but certainly not least is CTDI, an existing employer at the River Ridge Commerce Center located in Jeffersonville. This new expansion project will be located actually in Charlestown with just over 600 new jobs and right around $20 million worth of capital investment, which marks the largest single employee addition to the city of Charlestown. So congratulations to Charlestown and to River Ridge and to all of you for the work and support and the investment that you make in our economic development team. Next up, we've got James Hall with the Ports of Indiana. The state of Indiana is lucky to benefit from the 3 ports that the port system operates. One located right here in our backyard in Jeffersonville, Indiana. Those 3 combined ports actually move over 13 million tons worth of cargo annually, and our local port over 3 million. So it's a vital resource, but not only to the companies that are located within the port, but really throughout the region through the foreign trade zone. So we're excited to bring you James Hall to give you a little bit of insight into the port system, as well as the foreign trade zone operation and how you and your company might benefit from its services. We'll close up today's general meeting with Jack Harrison, our economic development specialist, to talk a little bit about the exciting opportunities coming up in the coming months. We hope you'll reach out to ask more questions, get more engaged, and really leverage your membership here at the Metro Manufacturing Alliance.
Hi everyone, my name is James Hall, and I work for the Ports of Indiana. I've been there about 3.5 years, and I'm over all the foreign trade zones there. We have 3 foreign trade zones for the Ports of Indiana. Before I begin to tell you more about that, I'll give you a little bit of background about how I stumbled on foreign trade zones. So I'm a Gulf War veteran from the United States Navy, did a lot of traveling abroad, graduate of Drake Law School, worked as a regional compliance officer for Expeditors International in trade compliance. And it was there that I discovered how valuable foreign trade zones can be for commerce. This is a program that is underutilized, and the data will show that like 80% underutilized. You have your major corporations that are taking advantage of foreign trade zones, but actually foreign trade zones can be used for small and mid-sized companies. What's most important is that you have an international supply chain. The whole idea behind foreign trade zones is that we're giving American businesses the opportunity to compete on the global scale. So without any further ado, today I'll be telling you about a little bit of the genesis of foreign trade zones and how the program works. And hopefully you will see that it can work for you. And even though there's a lot of money that can be saved in foreign trade zones, sometimes the biggest opportunity is just having that foreign trade zone designation so that you can warehouse articles in your manufacturing plant or your warehouse such that you don't have to record a sale until it's actually purchased. That allows you to maximize your business, your commerce, and really other opportunities. If you have labeling issues with your product and you need to find more time to figure out what the FDA wants or another governmental agency wants for you to package your good correctly, it can sit in your foreign trade zone warehouse indefinitely until its issues are resolved. So there's all kind of benefits that are in the program. There's monetary benefits, there's intangible benefits, and so I'll get to that in the presentation. Foreign trade zones, Ports of Indiana. So what is a foreign trade zone? A foreign trade zone is a secure area of land under customs supervision. What's really important about that is that you don't have to pay any import tax or a tariff on your goods. So you're physically here in the United States, but you're outside of U.S. customs in the sense that they're not charging you any import duty unless you introduce that article into the stream of commerce in the United States. So that's a fancy way of saying that, hey, I brought something to the United States, and if I'm going to sell it or retail it in the United States, then I pay customs duties. If I'm not, if I'm going to ship it back out, no duties are required. So the purpose of a foreign trade zone is that they're designed to help American business remain competitive in the global economy. What that really means is that in many situations, you have governments that subsidize a product. In the United States, we have business people that subsidize, that make a product. So therefore, you don't have tax dollars from a governmental entity to produce your product. So it'd be a very unfair advantage for a small business person or middle-sized business person to make a product versus a country where their government is making a product. So our government recognized that and said, hey, how do we ensure American business can compete globally? One way of doing that is reduce or eliminate import taxes. So simply, the way it really works is this. You have a product, the components may be manufactured out of the US. You may be sourcing them from China or India. You'll have duty on that, an import tax, a tariff. Now, when that product is imported here, the components are going to be basically placed in the finished product. So parts of a computer are going to go into the computer to make the finished product. Those components had duty on them, had tariff on them. Now, in order to be competitive globally, the US is saying, you know what, if you export that product, put the components into the completed product and you export it, no duties. That allows us to compete globally. It's really good for communities because you now have a company that's hiring Americans to work in their facilities. So it really rejuvenates and stimulates our economy as well as gives us a chance to compete on the global market. So here, FTZs reduce, defer, eliminate tariffs assessed on imported commodities, as well as improve logistic efficiencies. Another thing is when you have a foreign trade zone, when you have a designation from U.S. Customs or U.S. Customs and the Foreign Trade Zone Board, what you can see is that when your goods are imported, they don't have to wait in line to be cleared by U.S. Customs. They can be delivered immediately from the arriving vessel right to your warehouse or right to your manufacturing facility. So that's a logistic efficiency that's also involved. So it's always not a big duty savings that attracts you to a foreign trade zone. It can be the fact that now you're having your goods delivered quickly to your manufacturing site, and then you're able to manufacture that product and get it right back out the door. So indirectly, you're saving money there too, but time is money. So it all kind of works around money, but sometimes what gets you to say, hey, I want a foreign trade zone is the fact that now you get it quickly delivered to your manufacturing facility and you can begin to inspect it, quality review of the product, and things of that nature. What industries are using foreign trade zones in Indiana? So Indiana is really pretty, I'd say, progressive in foreign trade zones, but progressive in the sense that it's our big companies here. It's our Eli Lillys, our Subarus, our Rolls Royce. But some of the things that we see that are being, some companies that we see that are actually taking advantage of foreign trade zones are the industries such as pharmaceuticals, vehicle parts, electrical machinery, textiles. Now that being said, FTZ benefits are available for all companies, big and small. And that's what I really want to get Indiana to understand is that big companies in Indiana or in the nation, they have higher or a more robust headcount. So therefore they can have 6 or 7 people looking at FTZ rules and then applying those rules to their industry. Whereas a smaller company doesn't have that convenience and therefore they bypass using the foreign trade zone and pass all those additional import tariff costs onto the ultimate consumer. Ports of Indiana is trying to make sure that we help mid-sized and small companies so that we carry a lot of that administrative burden. The Ports of Indiana has enabling legislation that designates the Ports of Indiana as the grantee for all other grantees in the state. So what does that really mean? It really means that the Ports of Indiana sponsors any grantee that wants to become a foreign trade zone grantee. So let's just say, for instance, this is how it works here in Indiana. There are 4 grantees, counting Ports of Indiana. You have the Indianapolis Airport Authority, you have South Bend International Airport, and you have the city of Fort Wayne. Now, before those 3, Indianapolis Airport, South Bend, and the city of Fort Wayne, can have a service area that establishes an FTZ, they have to have the Ports of Indiana concur. So we concurred, and then the U.S. Foreign Trade Zone Board will then say, okay, we are going to allow City of Fort Wayne, South Bend, or the Indianapolis Airport the right to offer foreign trade zones to businesses in their communities. So that's a really interesting thing. What we're actually doing at the Ports of Indiana is we're trying to get all the grantees together to have a statewide association so that we're all speaking with one voice. We're all out there socializing and evangelizing the program so that we do get the mid-sized and small companies involved. Okay. So, interesting point or a little background about foreign trade zones. They've come a long way. What I mean by that is initially, like in the 80s and 90s, it took a lot of paperwork, a lot of application processing, a lot of review of the acreage that you're going to designate as a foreign trade zone before you could be approved. So we're talking about timelines from a year and a half to 2 years before you could be activated. And that was really cumbersome. So what the Foreign Trade Zone Board did, they reviewed it and said, okay, we have a new program called Alternative Site Framework, ASF. What that allows is for interested companies to be activated in foreign trade zones within 30 days. For production, it could be 6 months. That is far better than 2 years or 1 year. And even with production, where I said 6 months, you can actually request immediate activation until your application is approved within those 6 months. So it's really a great program. Most importantly, I like to say that Ports of Indiana, well, the state of Indiana, is one of the first states in the nation where all 92 counties are ASF. So that's really attractive when we're trying to land business, because what it means is a company looking to be in whatever county it is in Indiana can immediately get that international foreign trade zone benefit, where you have other states where they don't have that. So they're going to wrestle with a 2-year activation time. And that can sometimes deter a company from coming into your state. One other thing that's a point of interest is that the Foreign Trade Zone Board every year lists the top 25 states for FTZ activity. And Indiana, you'll see there is number 8. That's really exciting in the sense that the program is working, companies are taking advantage of it. Again, right now, we're just seeing that it's the big companies, the pharmaceuticals, the Subaru company, the automobile industry. So it means that actually we can move from number 8 to probably the top 5. Another thing that's very interesting is that Indiana is not a coastal state. And so for us to be number 8 in FTZ activity, it's really, you have to really maximizing or reaching out and utilizing the program. So it's a lot of kudos there for Indiana. I mean, Texas, right there off the Gulf, California, bring everything from China. So for us to be number 8 again is really outstanding. And then we haven't even touched the mid-sized and small companies. So We're getting better. We're going to probably be in the top 5, I'd say, within the next 3 to 5 years. And what that really means is that we're going to have more companies here that hire more Hoosiers, so the economy is being stimulated. As I've mentioned before, some of the companies that are taking advantage of this in Indiana, we have AstraZeneca, Eli Lilly, Bell International, Thor Motor Coach. Let me just give a little example of why you have Eli Lilly or why you have a pharmaceutical company taking advantage of FTZ. Pharmaceutical companies, they use active pharmaceutical ingredients when they're creating a product, a medicine, or something of that nature. Now, those active pharmaceutical ingredients are procured overseas, and those can have a duty rate from 5% to 9%. But once that is imported and then it's encapsulated at their facility, the rate of duty is 0. So therefore, you have Eli Lilly and AstraZeneca jumping on board. Another reason why they like FTZ is that the FDA regulates the labeling. So you can go out, if you're Eli Lilly or AstraZeneca, procure a lot of your active pharmaceutical ingredients. You can leverage the buy. You can buy a lot more. Now, you don't know what the FDA is going to require for labeling, but you have been able to buy a bulk of those APIs, those active pharmaceutical ingredients, and therefore you can hold them there until the FDA directs you on what your labeling is required to be, and therefore you save money because you bought a mass or a bulk of your product at one time. So, and then again with like Thor Motor Coach, it's interesting. The parts that make up a passenger vehicle, those parts have duty rates that can run between 5 and 14%. Once you put those parts into the passenger vehicle and then you export it, now it's only 2.5% rate of duty. So lots of savings. And then you have this GXO Logistics. That's a 3PL or a third-party logistics provider. And what they can do is they can actually manage your FTZ for you so that you don't have the burden of inventory control. They're going to have the inventory control headache, and they're going to also have the responsibility to adhere to the rules for customs to operate your foreign trade zone. So FTZ is thriving, and our industries look pretty good. Okay. So statewide foreign trade zone coverage, as I've mentioned, all 92 counties are ASF certified, which that really means they're already approved. All they need is concurrence from the grantee and the U.S. Customs Port Director, and then you'll be ready to go. So, Ports of Indiana, we're in Burns Harbor, Mount Vernon, and Jeffersonville, and we control about 34 counties, and Indianapolis Airport has about 41 counties. And the balance of the 92 counties are made up with City of Fort Wayne and the St. Joseph County Airport Authority. And so we're all collectively working together to put a statewide association together so that we can even be more uniform in our presentation to companies throughout Indiana. We're excited about that. We'll be the first state to have all grantees involved in a statewide association. There's only 2 other statewide associations out there, Georgia and Texas, but they don't have all the grantees. So one thing about being in the Midwest is that we have the ability to get along with each other. And so therefore, we don't have grantees trying to say, I don't want to be a part of something. Our grantees are collectively working together to make sure everybody learns about FTZ. Nothing that I'm not condemning I'm not condemning Georgia or Texas at all. I'm just saying that the great thing about the Midwest, is that we really get along well with each other. And so FTZ actually is pretty unique in the sense that Ports of Indiana offers a lot of water, and the airports offer a lot of air for their transportation services. So we're really not competing, we're really helping each other. How can a foreign trade zone benefit your business? Again, I've stated reducing and deferring import duty and logistic efficiencies. So another example is golf shoes. This is just to help understand this a little better. Look, there's sometimes a lot of math involved in this, but the point of FTZ is this. You bought something in, it had a rate of duty, and then what happened was you domestically sold some, because that's usually what happens. You're gonna have domestic sales and you're gonna have international sales. So really, the math just basically shows that you can save money when you export the good. So therefore, you're not carrying all that import tax for all the goods that were received. That's the whole gist of this. There's no magic, and that's what a lot of mid-sized and small companies think, that there's this mystery and it's all really complex. No, actually, it's not. It's just the government wants to make sure that when duties are supposed to be given to U.S. Customs, those are for goods that were domestically retailed. Things that went back out the door overseas, you'd have to pay any duty on that. Some examples here, wiring harnesses, they go into production at your manufacturing facility, they then get into a vehicle. They initially started at 5% rate of duty. They were then placed into the vehicle. The vehicle as a whole only has a 2.5% rate of duty. So now when you want to sell that or retail that vehicle in the United States, you only have to pay customs 2.5% of duty on each vehicle, as opposed to 5% for many different components. And that actually is called inverted tariff. That's that fancy word they say there. Steam turbines going to vessels operates the same way. Oh, well, even better. 6.7% for the components. And then when those components were placed into a vessel, now it's duty free. So that's even a bigger savings. We've already talked about active pharmaceutical ingredients and how it can become duty free once the API is encapsulated in the capsule. So actually these numbers look small here. When you think about the volume that you're dealing with, it becomes multi-million dollars worth of savings. Other benefits in FTZ, I think what's most important is reduction in merchandise processing fee. Right away, you can experience about $1 million in savings if you're doing between $2 to $5 million in import activity. What really happens is every time you import an article, you're charged a merchandise processing fee on that invoice. This number easily reaches millions of dollars a year. However, it can be capped at about $27,000 through FTZ. So that's really a great way to save. I've already mentioned direct delivery is another way that you can save time on building things. I know in oil and gas, it was really important that we had our equipment delivered as quickly as possible, because if in fact you weren't drilling, then the daily rate could be $800,000, $900,000 that you're losing per day to get that rig up. So I've seen how these work, and I'm happy to go into detail. If there's any questions about FTZ, please let me know. I've been involved with FTZ for the last, I'd say, 13 years. I'm a licensed customs broker as well. I do duty drawbacks, I do trade compliance, classification, strategic sourcing. So again, I'm happy to help anyone that's interested in foreign trade.
Hello folks, my name is Jack Harrison, Economic Development Specialist here at One Southern Indiana. It's been a real pleasure to meet everyone and get to know folks in my first few months here in this role, and I certainly look forward to meeting you all and forming more relationships with you in the times ahead. Here are some upcoming events and activities we have planned for the Metro Manufacturing Alliance. Number one, we do still have our monthly roundtables going, those monthly peer group roundtables. But one thing we do want to highlight, an exciting update, is that we have a new facilitator for the HR roundtable, Jerry Jackson from Cherry Beckert. So we look forward to partnering with her in the sessions ahead, and we hope that you come out and join us at the next installment of that roundtable, which is Thursday, July 18th. Moving forward, at the end of this month, we have our Unlock Efficiency with Lean Manufacturing workshop. This is being led by Georgian Simeon at the ISBDC. Georgian is a Black Belt Lean Six Sigma team leader with extensive experience with process flow design and improvement. He's worked with many different manufacturers and businesses in Southern Indiana. That is why we are proud to partner with him in the ISBDC for this workshop, specifically for on-the-floor employees. It's a 4-hour course that will take place from 8 a.m. to noon on Tuesday, July 30th, here at our 1SA offices on Charlestown Road. The workshop is ideal for employees who are crucial to implementing these lean strategies in their daily roles, and is tailored to simplify lean manufacturing concepts to ensure that they're accessible and actionable for those directly involved in the manufacturing process. Whether you're looking to cut costs, improve quality, or increase efficiency, the training is designed to deliver practical skills that can be immediately applied. Now, spots for the workshop are limited and are going quickly, so to register, you can visit our website at onesi.org and find our events calendar, or you can reach out to me directly. My email is jackhh@onesi.org. While this workshop is open to all manufacturers, members of our MMA can sign up at a discounted rate, so reach out to us if you'd like to learn more. And again, for any assistance, reach out to me or reach out to my colleague, Rachel Armstrong. She can be reached at rachela@onesi.org. Next up, Manufacturing Week, another one of our exciting signature events. This year, it's being held from Monday, September 23rd through Wednesday, September 25th. Manufacturing Week offers a dynamic platform for high school students to explore the diverse opportunities within the manufacturing sector, facilitated by industry leaders like you. We encourage manufacturers of all stripes across the region to participate in this year's event, so you can do things like connecting directly and build relationships with your future workforce, shaping perceptions of manufacturing careers in general, reducing your recruitment costs, and even just boosting your brand awareness for your company. Monday the 23rd will be our media kickoff day, hosted at Amatrol in Jeffersonville. We look forward to that. And then the following days, the 24th and 25th, we'll see over 1,000 high school students from across the region with specific interests in manufacturing and related industries, and they'll descend upon the NOCO Arts District and Maker 13, also in Jeffersonville. You can book your interactive booth space or learn more today by reaching out. Again, you could reach out to me directly or to my colleague, Rachel. To continue building momentum for manufacturing in the region, it's critical that these pathways between employers and the workforce are sustained and deepened, and these important connections contribute to the betterment of all local communities here in Southern Indiana and enhance efforts to grow existing businesses and even attract new ones. Lastly, stay tuned for our next installment of our quarterly meeting of the WMMA. More details will be forthcoming in the weeks ahead. You don't want to miss out on that. This concludes today's MMA General Meeting. Thank you for tuning in, and that you have a wonderful rest of your day.